Sadulu House Spiritual Center would like to invite you to join our learning community by encouraging you to sign up for our monthly webinars. Our webinars offer live interactive instruction designed to help empower you in your spiritual evolution and ritual work. The webinars we provide are purposed to help you dive deeper into the concepts and calculations of the chief Jegna of Anu Nation, Heru Yuya Asan Anu, through the decoding and exploration of sound, symbol, ancient and contemporary texts, and various other tools used to invoke a state of highest awareness. We are able to abandon the constrictions of dead thought to travel to higher states of awareness, which is our rightful designation. To view our list of webinars, go to saduluhouse.com/events. Topics for 2016 include meditation, spiritual cleansing, astral projection, chakras, crystals, water magic, candle magic, the third eye, animal totems, dreams, and sex magic. Remember, go to saduluhouse.com/events to register.
Greetings, peace everyone. Welcome to Community Radio. I'm your host, Kim, and I just want to say thank you for tuning in. And we're back this strong with another segment of Community Radio. So last strong, we were speaking on the topic of compassion, and it was a really good conversation. We had a few callers that, I guess the topic kind of hit home for them. And it was a really good build. And today, on Tuesday, I'm going to start off talking about purpose and trying to figure out why you're here. And so before I do that, of course, I want to get some new business out of the way and just want to encourage you to visit saduluhouse.com. And this is the school component of the Anu Nation. And this is where we teach several courses. So on this website, you can sign up for the Anu Spiritual Training Phase 1. You can sign up for the free Orisha class. And we also have several classes on different concepts, such as crystals, alchemy, chakras, spiritual cleansing, oils, herbs, astral travel, just a lot of different topics. And the topics keep coming, so there's more being added all the time. So you can go to that website and check out any of those courses if you'd like. And I also want to encourage you to visit our YouTube page, which is Enlightenment and Transformation, as well as the website, enlightenmentandtransformation.com. You'll find all of our old broadcasts from Foundational Fridays, Underground Thursday, Anua Safo, Masterminds Monday, and the Chief Speak shows. So all of our shows are archived there. There's tons of information, tons of rituals in those shows. Chief gives out a lot of information in those, and they are all archived on enlightenmentandtransformation.com. And there's some other channels there as well. Orisha Yoruba is another one. If you just type in H Yuya Asana Nu, most of our sites should pop up. We also have Sadulu House and Anu Nation, where you can check out Brother Zach's segment, Right and Exact. So today, again, there's one more thing I forgot. I just wanted to send thank you to the women that participated on the call yesterday. As you know, every show we encourage you to sign up for Anu Life Global if you would like to be a part of what we're doing. And that site is anulifeglobal.org. And this is where you can go to, if you have anything you would like to share with Anu Nation in terms of, like, if you want to volunteer or if you just want to help out with some of the things that we're doing, or if you're interested in the men's group, the women's group, Africa Initiative, any of those things that we have going on, you can go to anulifeglobal.org. And so yesterday, some of the women of Anu did a hangout together that was really productive. the call was really good. We had a good build. I enjoyed speaking with all the newcomers. And so I just wanted to say thank you to them. And, again, welcome to our new order, our new nation. So today we're going to talk about purpose and how to find your purpose. And before I get started, I would just want to, I see we have a few callers on the line, encourage you to press the number 1 to share your thoughts. If there's anything you'd like to talk about or something that's on your mind, feel free to bring it up. This is an open forum. We're not, we don't have to stick to, the topic of the show. There really is no topic. It's just that I do that to kind of get the ball rolling. So sometimes we tend to drift. But the number to call in is 347-945-7680, and you can just press the number 1 to be heard. So I see we have a few callers. Good. Welcome to Community Radio. So, again, today I kind of wanted to talk about purpose and why we're here. And I think I'm trying to make sure. Last time we were having some serious audio issues, so I'm just trying to make sure that that's not happening this time. So I will that everyone can hear me. Let's see, we already have someone with their hand up. Let me bring them in. Greetings, Keith. Welcome to Community Radio.
Greetings, Kim. How you doing, this Anwar? You're sounding nice and clear on my
end. I'm fine. Oh, good. Thank you. I was hoping somebody would call in and say something because I can't hear. I'm using a different technique this time to try to make sure the audio is good. So good. You can hear me.
Crystal.
Okay. How are you today?
I'm all right. I'm well. I'm very well. Working hard right
Good. Okay. That's always good.
Yeah.
All right. You want to start us off for today, or do you want to just hold on and wait until it gets warmed up, or what you got
that's
for
what
us
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do my normal deed is sit back and listen for a second, then talk.
Okay. Okay. Just hit your mute button then, and then you can come in whenever you're ready. All right. Thanks. Okay, so good. I can be heard. Like I said, last time we were having some serious technical issues, so this time everything's nice and clear. So we're going to get started. I'll just open up talking about purpose and why we're here. And one of the reasons why I wanted to start with that is because yesterday, while we were on the call, one of the callers, when, we were introducing ourselves and asking, how and why we got to, why we found Chief, most of the time the answer comes back, is most of us are just trying to figure out why we're here. Why do we incarnate, on this planet? And, we just kind of stumble through life until you get to you hit a wall of frustration and you're just like, I can't take it. It's got to be more to life than just me getting up, going to work, coming home. You're just living for the weekend so you can get a break. And as we all know, like once that weekend comes, it's like you have to spend one day recuperating from the week, and then you actually want to go out and do something. And then, by the time, you have your fun, it's like right back to the grind. So it's like every week you're just living for that one day or a couple of days of a break, So you're just living your life just in this redundant circle. And so you hit this wall of frustration and you're just like, okay, you know what, something's got to give. It's got to be more to life than this. I got to figure out what it is. So most of us come to that point because, in this culture, all of our good years, our younger years, are, we're in school most of the time. So, by the time we reach 18, we spent, this much time in, going through this school system. We get out maybe, for a couple of months, you jump right back in. You're in school again for another 4 years or, depending on what you study, even longer. You get out and then, boom, you're like, okay, now I got to get married, have children, get a job. And, by the time you finally, by the time you get to that point of frustration, you're, well into your 30s or 40s, and you're just like, what happened? I haven't lived my life at all. So I wanted to talk about some of the ways we can kind of find that purpose or try to find what we're doing. So the first one that I wanted to go over is to kind of look at life patterns. Look at things that happen in your life that keep coming up, that keep repeating. Maybe something, it could be something bad, but a certain event or a certain type of event that just keeps happening over and over. Whether you keep, I think Chief talked about this once before, maybe, like your bike or something gets stolen. It starts off as a bike, and then it may progress to a motorcycle and then a car. But it's like each time a certain thing, a certain event happens in your life, every few years or so. And you have to look at that almost as like something trying to wake you up, like these gentle nudges, like, hey, over here. Because it's like when they keep popping up like that, this is your opportunity to do something different in the moment, Or it could be, choosing the same type of mate every single time, choosing the same type of woman or the same type of man that you always date. You have this one type that you like, and the first one doesn't work out, you go to the next one. It's the same type of person, or that one doesn't work out, you go to the next one. It's the same type of person, and you just keep making these same choices over and over. You're not doing anything different. An episode of Groundhog Day. It's like it just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating, but it's because you're not doing anything different. So the only time it's like you can kind of break up the monotony is when you actually change your course of action. And then that's when new opportunities, pop up. And we can see, just kind of what direction we're going in instead of, following the same road all the time. Or, for instance, like if you, just keep going from job to job to job to job, and you just can't seem to, either you're not progressing at your job or you're just unsatisfied. It's just not, you're just not all the way there. It's just, you feel kind of like a robot, just going in every day, doing the same thing over and over, having the same obstacles, running into the same type of problems. So you quit that job or you get fired and you go to the next one. You do the same thing. You quit that job or you get fired, you go to the next one. Quit that job, fired, go to the next one. Well, these are all like signs that you're making wrong turns. And so one of the things that, we learn in the spiritual training is that your ori, or your soul's purpose, is always trying to guide you. So you always have things that happen in your life to try to nudge you to take the right turns. So when things like this happen, like I said, these patterns keep popping up, it's kind of like a nudge to try to move us in the right direction. But sometimes we just kind of get in the habit of, like I said, trying to maintain a mortgage or a car payment and pay bills and things that we just kind of are like, well, I can't stop. I can't quit, so I'm just going to have to, let me just try this other job. Let me just do this job. And it's the same situation over and over and over again. So you can almost look at it like as if you're traveling, trying to get to a certain destination. You keep taking the same exit thinking that you're going to come out at a different destination. And it's not. It just keeps going. You just keep making that same turn over and over and just keeps looping you back around. So that's one of the things that I thought about and trying to figure out what your purpose is. Another thing that I thought of that was a good start is to just kind of analyze your name, your birth name, by the way. Sometimes when we get into spirituality, the first thing we do is like change our name. We want to quickly change our name because we feel like we have a different identity then, and that may be true. But your birth name, like that's still a divine name because it was inspired by, whomever gave it to you at the time, at the moment of, when your mother was pregnant or whatever. So that name was still given to you. And as you know, like at that moment, some of, I have to say some, I can't say all. We really do feel that the names that we choose are special names. So we can't just discard it just because we feel like it's not. And those names have a very strong significance, even though we may not think it is. When we're like, my name is Kimberly, for example. It's like, if I have not changed my name. I do have a spiritual name that I don't share with many people. Only maybe a couple of people may know. But I didn't, when I came into consciousness, but when I started studying African spirituality, I did not feel the need to change my name. And that's because I had to kind of understand, what did my birth name mean? My first, middle, and last name. And so I had to kind of break that name down and figure out what it meant. And it had a huge impact on me because I found spiritual significance and a spiritual purpose in that name. So sometimes we can't just, discard some of the things that we are given just because we feel like it's not conscious or it's not, is not in alignment with the new thing or new religion that we're studying or whatever. You can't just simply discard those things. And that's because, like Chief says, we go on sound frequency, not necessarily how the name is spelled. We go by how it sounds. And sometimes you can even take out the vowels in your name and look at it like a sigil. So in the show, Chief actually did a show on sigils or sigils where he broke this down, and he used the example of Louis Vuitton. And he said, I think their logo or whatever is like LV. LV. By taking the vowels out of a word, you're just kind of left to just kind of sound it out or see what rolls off the tongue when you try to pronounce it. And so LV, of course, we know sounds like love or looks like love. That's kind of where your mind goes. So it sends like a subliminal message out to you, love. Everybody wants that. So LV, it adds to the power of that brand just by, using those two letters. So sometimes you can find out what the vibration is of the word just by taking the vowels out. And so that's kind of, what I did with my name. And I started to find, like I said, a significant spiritual reason, a spiritual purpose behind that particular name. And from that point on, it became something that I was very proud of. Before I had an issue like with my middle name. I really didn't care for it very much. But like I said, after I did a little bit of research and tried to understand, okay, what was my mother thinking of when she gave me this name, or where did the name come from, on top of researching, just the sounds of the different names. So that's another thing that I thought of. Again, I just want to pause for a second and remind you all, if you'd like to join the conversation, press the number 1 for those of you that are on the line. Or if you're listening through another medium, you can call 347-945-7680. As always, we always encourage you to join in the conversation. So I'm not just talking. This is like community radio. So we're trying to, build a community and include people. And I'd like to hear what you have to say. For some of you that have found your purpose, how did you get there? What are some of the techniques that you use to get to that point? So I see that we still have a few callers on the line. No one has their hand up right now. So I'm going to take a quick break and make some announcements, and then we'll come right back and we'll continue the conversation.
What is water? Why is water used in so many rituals? Why are female deities linked to water? Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu is credited for saying water is fluid, soft, and yielding, but water will wear away rock, which is rigid and cannot yield. As a rule, whatever is fluid, soft, and yielding will overcome what is rigid and hard. This is another paradox. What is soft is strong. What do those three examples have to do with magic and ritual? Gain knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of water by enrolling in Sadulu House's class-based webinar, Water Magic. To sign up for this class or any of the other classes offered by Sadulu House, go to saduluhouse.com/store. Have you ever felt like there is mischievous energy being directed towards your home? Did you know that by combining pine needles, cloves, cinnamon sticks, sage, quartz crystals, and violet water, that you can make a floor wash that will dispel those energies and provide protection? Quartz crystals are known for their clearing energy, but aside from reading about it in a book, how do we know this for sure? There are different techniques that you can use to unlock the powers of crystals for various uses. In Sadulu House's class-based webinar, Crystals, we discuss these techniques and also learn more about crystals such as how spirits enter crystals, how to work with those spirits, and how crystals form. For more information, go to saduluhouse.com/products/crystals-the-class.
Okay, we're back. So I just wanted to take a quick break to play a couple of commercials for you all, because sometimes we get emails about, how to get started. So like I said, you can go to saduluhouse.com and register or sign up for some of the courses that we offer. It's a really good start. We have a few books that are also supplements to the classes, one being Grasping the Root of Divine Power. The other is Solutions for Dysfunctional Family Relationships. We also have the Shrine and Altar book. And Natural Hair Care for Young Women is another one if you're interested in natural hair. That's been like a huge, I won't call it, it's a trend. I'll say it's a trend. It's been, pretty popular past couple of 2 or 3 years now, or maybe a little bit longer in different areas. I know here in the South, it's, started to kind of take off in the past 2 or 3 years because it wasn't the thing to do, a few years ago. So natural hair care for young women is another one. And we will soon have the 14 African Principles out. Chief is working on that title. That'll be out really, really soon. I'm super excited to get my hands on that one. I think that'll be like an awesome, awesome book. And there are more books to come. So if you kind of want to keep up with some of those titles, make sure you go to omnination.org and sign up for the newsletter so that you'll know kind of what's going on, what's being put out. If we've got new videos or new books and things, make sure you sign up there. Okay, so we're back, and we are about, I'd say, 30 minutes into the show. The number is 347-945-7680. Again, I want to encourage you to press the number 1 to join the conversation. And like I said, you don't have to talk about what I'm speaking on right now. If you have another topic you'd like to bring up, that's fine, but I do encourage you to join the conversation. So, I'm not just, pulling things out of my brain, or you're just hearing me kind of talk. This is community radio, and so we're trying to build that community, a safe space for people to come in and talk and share their experiences. If you're a new student, we've had students to call in that are new that have shared their experiences and talked about how the classes have helped them. So I do encourage you to share and not to wait to the last 10 minutes of the show to kind of jump in. I know some of us are shy and we tend to do that. We get that a lot on Chief Speaks. But this is your opportunity to ask your question. Even if you have questions about the class or maybe an idea or thought that Chief has presented, you can ask that question, and we'll do our best. The community will do our best to help get that question answered. So before the break, we were talking about different ways that you can find your purpose or figure out why you're here. The last thing I spoke about is analyzing your birth name. And just to reiterate, I think it's really good that you don't, just discard your birth name. And that, like I said, you can find reason and purpose in that birth name if you just go on sound vibration. So another thing that you can look at are your physical features. That gives us a huge clue to what our purpose is. And this can sometimes be a touchy one because, oh, great, we got some callers. So I'm going to go ahead and bring some callers in. So let's see, let's go to 347. Greetings. Welcome to Community Radio.
Greetings and blessings, Kim. This is Sankofa Infinity.
How are you today?
I am well.
Greetings.
I am well. Yeah, my timing and your timing is impeccable. Whenever I have a question, I just, it comes to me. I'm drawn to people, places, things, and ideas that give me the answer. And probably about 30 minutes ago, I was listening to something in regards to African spirituality. And I was listening to, I think it's Omar Johnson, and he was talking about, the Orishas and what have you. And how we walk, the Orishas walk with us and, they're guardians and what have you. But I start asking questions like, okay, let's narrow this thing down. Who is who? Like who is my father and who is my mother? And when I came on your show, when I started listening to your show, you were talking about name changes. Because and I had to speak to that because when I began my spiritual journey, or when I became aware that I was on this path, I didn't choose my name. Trust me, my name chose me.
Okay.
And I did not. I went through a process of no, and no. This is not going to happen. It can't happen. Why would it happen? Why do I need to? I went through all of that, and I finally I had a dream, and in this dream, my uncle, who was a pastor during that time, he was on this pulpit. He was on a pulpit, and the pulpit, there were steps that led up into the pulpit. And back behind him, there was a scroll. It just dropped down, and I started to read it, and I could not, as I tried to gaze and focus more on the scroll, the words, they began to, move from me, fade away. And my uncle, he didn't say, we spoke, but we spoke telepathically. And he had this cloak of some sort, and it was brown. I remember it being brown, like something like the monks wear, that brown color. He threw it on me. And it was so heavy, but the peace that I had, it superseded the heaviness of it. So I was able to stand up right with it. And the dream went off. And then I was like, okay, fine. Okay, we're gonna do a name change. Let's do it. So I go to church, and mind you, I had said, listen, I'm done with these church people. I can't do it anymore because I was going through something else, even with my sexuality, and I just didn't feel comfortable being in the church as an ordained minister, preaching something that I was not living completely.
Okay.
So I had a conflict with that, and I came out. I came out, completely out, and cast it to the side. But anyway, I found myself going to church. A friend of mine during that time took me to church, and I looked over to the side. In the lobby of the church, there was a table, and it had these pins in it, these pendants. Jesus loves us. It was Jesus love you, God love you, Jesus is love, and things of this nature. But there was one pin that said Yeshua. And I kid you not, before I even reached down to grab the pen, the energy of the pen projected itself off onto me.
Okay.
And it took me back to the dream, and I was like, oh my God, this is it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I took the pen, put it in my pocket. I didn't say anything about it. I didn't even want to talk about it, And then from there, I went to Durham, North Carolina. My first job was working at a Know Bookstore, Know Thyself bookstore. I worked there as a cook. All my money went to books, books about my ancestors, books about my blackness, books about melon. I mean, everything that I could possibly read. But in lieu of me being in Durham, I kept on running into these men who were Muslims who knew about name changing. And they would say, they would confirm, you need to change your name. And I'm like,
wow.
What?
Here we go again. Same message, yeah.
Yeah, you need to change your name. So I said, okay. So I went back into my space in which I was living in during that time, and I began to communicate with the indwelling force that is in me. And, I said, okay, if we're going to do the first name, we got to do the second. We got to do the last name. We can't do just the first name. We got to do the whole thing. And with that, because I had been studying, I began to research the last name. And I was led to Elohim in plural form. And it came out to that. But the thing is, what has been so interesting is that I have had to surrender to the integration of Yeshua Elohim and Sharita Dawn. Okay. I had to find a way to braid them together because they can't work separately. And I mean, it's been like a journey that I can't make up. I can't make up. Yeah.
Wow. Let me ask you this: when you first got that name and you decided to take on that name, did you find it? I guess what I'm trying to ask is how did you find yourself needing to grow in that name to really explore it, to understand the meanings of those names? Are you still unfolding the meaning of that name through, just through your experiences in living?
Yes, almost, when I took on the name, I began to grow into the name. I think you just said that. I began to grow into it. But let me say this, and I was just having this conversation with my spirit, that, if you would have laid this out before me, I would not have taken this path. So if I was told what I had to go through in order to grow into it, I wouldn't have taken it.
Of course, right. Mhm.
So
I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good. It's good to delete the need to know. You know what I'm saying? It's good to not know sometimes, because when we know too much, we get in our own way of things.
Right.
And, we cause more trouble, not only for ourselves, but the people that we come in contact with. It's almost like, I don't know if you know the Jonah story, where
yes.
Jonah was running from his calling, and he gets on this ship with all these people.
Mhm.
And he causes trouble, not only for himself, but for the whole ship and the people in it. And he had to cast himself out of that ship to bring peace for the surroundings. And I'm like, you know what? I just have to move and be in the spirit at all given time. Every step I take, okay, what are we doing? Where are we going?
Yeah. Right. That's a profound statement that you made, because, as you were speaking, I was just thinking about, some of the prayers that we use are in a different language. You have these different temple languages, Arabic, Sanskrit, Yoruba, and a lot of people, the first thing they want to do is, what does it mean? And for some of these languages, they're so old, and the culture has so many facets to it that there is no English equivalent for some of these words. So like you were saying, sometimes when we ask too many questions and we want to know everything, it takes away our power, because our mind will start to block it, block certain things. We'll just automatically we'll automatically negate it just by trying to pick them apart. So it's so sometimes, quoting those prayers and chanting those prayers or speaking those prayers are good, because there's a sound vibration and a frequency in the syllables of those words, in those sounds. And when we speak them, it does things to us, subconsciously that we're not aware of. And it's beneficial that we don't know what it means, because so we're not trying to figure out, what does it mean? What am I saying? What am I doing? You just have to kind of go with it, like you said, because if you knew what the journey was ahead of you, like you said, none of us would make a move, because we knew, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, I don't know. I'm kind of scared of that. Well, what if this happens?
Yeah.
Well, what if that happens? We start throwing all these what ifs and buts in the way,
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. So
but I wouldn't trade the experience.
Yeah. Have you grown into your name, or are you still unfolding different aspects of it?
Absolutely. I think it's for me. I sense that it is a continuum. Because it is a powerful name. And it requires humility and surrendering. And I think your last show, I think you were talking about compassion. It requires you to forgive them, for they know not what they do. It requires that. And it's definitely a journey, a continuum, because we live in the flesh, and things happen. Things are always happening. And you have to, for me, I know I have to always step outside of the situation and view it from another perspective and see the whole as fixed by nature. The reciprocal relationship of things relating to one another as the whole fixed by nature. And just go with it, because everyone, at the end of the day, everyone has their experience, and they must have that experience. So who am I? who am I to step in and say no? I'm no one. I am no one, and that's humility. Powerful yet no one. I am no one.
So have you, in exploring that name, has it led you to discover what your purpose is or why you're here?
Oh, yes. Empowering and teaching people, not, I don't like to use that word teacher, but I've been called a teacher, to instruct people and to direct them back into themselves. Because, at the end of the day, everything begins and ends with self. We are the creator of our reality all day and every day, whether we want to agree to it or not. I mean, that has been the theme. That has been the theme of my spiritual journey, is constantly going within, folding myself within. And it's never, sometimes I just want to reach out and be with people. I want to be like everybody else sometimes.
Right. Yeah.
I want to be normal sometimes. Whatever that is.
Right.
But I cannot do it because I live within. I live from within. And I view life from within. And it's a constant it's a constant walk.
So much for sharing. I'm going to bring in another caller at that, and we're going to try to keep this conversation going. So feel free to jump in whenever you like, or so I'm going to leave you on. You can just mute your phone, okay?
Okay.
And just unmute it when you're ready to speak. I'm going to go to 216.
Hello.
216, you're on Community Radio. Peace, greetings.
Hello. Peace, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Hi. Is your name Kim or Kimberly? I mean, I know it's Kim, but is it?
You can use either one.
Oh, okay, because my name happens to be Kimberly, so.
Okay.
Yeah, and then, I appreciate the shows, and I'm new to it, and but just listening to this conversation today, because as far as purpose, I've just been really consciously trying to, work towards bringing, out my own gifts and talents and wanting to share, what I have. And then just you speaking about the name, as you spoke about it, I'm looking it up, like Kimberly, and my middle name being Ann, and it's like, wow, that that describes me and my nature, and like wondering like what's my purpose, and like just, and like you said, speaking about, every day, getting up, going to work, just doing the mundane things, like I just feel so strong, like that's not me. And just astrologically, just looking at that side of myself, I know how I tend to be all over the place. I can, if I don't master that, then I can be all over the place. But I come to realize, with all these things that I have, trying to hone in on those things that may appear to maybe have me all over the place, but it's really not. It brings me to one point, having all these different aspects of myself, but just now, just reading my name, just reading Kimberly Ann, I'm like, wow. And what did you find? With Kimberly, just Kimberly itself, it says that it means the wood of the royal forest. And I don't know what royal forest, but it says the wood of the royal forest. But it makes me think about, how I want to and love to be, and want this idea of being closer to nature and more in tune, and just going deeper in terms of that, and then looking up the name Kimberly Ann, that just that just was on another level, and I found that under a site called Kabbalah, something like that. But yeah. So that in itself is amazing.
What did you find for Ann?
I didn't find Ann. I just looked up Kimberly Ann, and it just had one word. It's in one word, and it describes, what that means, and it goes into the numbers and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just thank you for bringing that up.
I'm trying to, let's see. So you said the wood of the royal forest.
Yeah,
wood of the royal forest.
Wood of the royal forest.
The royal forest. Okay, I've never heard that before. That's interesting.
Right, and it's like when you first type, I typed in what does Kimberly Ann mean. I didn't type it in as one word, but it came up with Kimberly, and it means from the wood of the royal forest, from the royal fortress metal. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I just looked into Kimberly Ann, because that's my middle name, Ann, and Kabbalarians brought up the meaning of that,
Okay.
And I usually, when I was younger, I would just tell people to call me Kim. But as I got older, I don't know, Kimberly just sounds softer and I don't know, sweeter. I don't know, it just sounds softer to me. So I started telling people to, call me Kimberly. My name's Kimberly. That's interesting. So thank you. I've looked into it, but not really been attentive to it. So, yeah.
Okay. You're very welcome. Thank you for calling.
Yeah.
Calling and sharing.
And I wanted to ask I wanted to ask you, too. Are you from Arkansas? Because I was listening last week. I actually tried to chime in, but my phone was on mute, and you all were at the end, and I was trying to chime in and ask you a question, but I heard you say Arkansas.
I'm in Arkansas.
You are? Wow. I need to talk to you when I ever get the opportunity, but yeah, because there's some things I'm working on. Some things that are there that I want to, it just goes along with everything that I've been visioning and seeing. So that is, yeah. Okay.
Well, you can send me an email at questions@anunation.org.
Question, Anunation, question like Question, right?
Yeah, with an S.
Okay.
Questions. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, thank you.
I'll get back to you. No problem at all.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. If you want to hang on, Kimberly, that's fine. You can just use the phone and come back in whenever you're ready. I'm going to leave your mic.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to bring in 615. They've had their hand up for a minute or so. Greetings. Welcome to Community Radio.
Greetings, Sister Kim. This is Brother Dedrick.
Hey, Dedrick. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
Good. I'm well.
Great. Well, I have
What's going on today?
Well, I have that information.
That's right.
Yeah, you thought I forgot, didn't you?
I did. Okay. Yeah, so can you explain to everybody listening before you give us the information what you're talking about?
All right.
What the information's about.
Okay, last Thursday we had a show about compassion, and the show went from talking about compassion to protecting your assets. And it went from protecting your assets to what has historically worked for black people, and can black people really protect their assets in this country, which then led to have you done your research about leaving the country? Because everything that, can be done here could be done somewhere else with less resistance, which I was thinking about Yemojab at that point. Because, salt water has more resistance than fresh water. So, what can you do somewhere else? Since, we all, Pan-African nationalists, have you actually researched going there? And I said I wanted to, but I hadn't gotten to that point yet. But I needed to do so. So what I did is I compared 3 different African nations that was, accepting descendants of slaves and giving dual visas, and comparing the 3 countries as far as moving there, how much it would cost, and what you'll be able to do from a global trade perspective. So I compared Accra, Ghana, Lagos, Nigeria, Yorubaland, and Douala, Cameroon. Now, I looked at the flights, and you can get from here to Ghana via Turkish Air. This is flying out of Atlanta. Is $843 round trip. That's let's say September 23rd to October 23rd. Is the best time to go is the fall.
Yeah, that's a really good price.
The best time to go is the fall. The busiest time to go, if you want to get there without delays, is to go in the fall. The most expensive time, of course, is the summer, and the most high volume time when a lot of people go. You might get a group deal is December. That's usually when a lot of people go.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at Nigeria, and through Delta it was $11.67 because Delta don't fly into Nigeria into Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't fly into Africa at all. You have to. You have to get to Nigeria. It would be best to take Virgin Atlantic, and that flight was $9.67 round trip.
Okay.
And that's how you would get there. And it's the same thing, best time to go fall, because that's when a lot of the students are either at school or at home, or everybody's pretty much locked into doing whatever they're doing. The Christmas time is another time when a lot of people go, so your ticket might be cheaper, but you would have to buy that ticket now because a lot of people do travel back and forth during the holidays to Nigeria. And that's how much it costs to get there. Now, Cameroon, it takes a lot of different carriers to get there, and that one was $1,300 across the board to Douala. So you would have to book that ticket from Pensacola, Florida, to get there cheaper because they don't, like I said, Delta don't really fly into Africa like that. Mm-hmm. So you probably end up having to catch United Arab Emirates. You have to get off in the United Arab Emirates, and it costs. I think if you leave the airport, you have to pay that embassy to get off the plane, like $200. So you would have to transfer in Abu Dhabi or United Arab Emirates. Mm-hmm. So I then compared the rent. So if you wanted to go to, the ratio for the Nigerian Naira is 4-to-1. So let's just say an apartment costs 40,000 Naira. That's pretty much like 2,000 American dollars. So for a year, for a 2-bedroom house or apartment or whatever, that's $2,000 to pay for the whole year, which it ends up being like $200 a month. So right there, that's you looking at $1,167. That'll pay for your first month's rent. All right, now total you at $3,000. All right, now once again, the ratio is 4-to-1 when it comes to the currency. So the best place to get land, believe it or not, in Nigeria is Oyo and Yorubaland, because Nigeria, Lagos, is the city, and it's very industrial. And it's hard to get land in Nigeria right now because of what the Chinese are doing. Because I went to there's a website called theworldbank.com, and you go to the section called Ease of Business, and it ranks 189 countries, and it shows how easy it is for minorities to do business. So Nigeria dropped from 56 to 71 when it comes to ease of business and getting credit for minorities, but they're number 32 when it comes to protecting minority assets. So that's pretty good. You can get like 5 to 10 acres for 40,000 or 50,000 Naira, which is about 3,000 American. You can there's abundance of cashew trees, cola nuts, safari, ecotourism, acacia wood. You can coal, coconut, all of these things. You can take advantage of in Nigeria if you decide to go agriculture. Nigeria also has the largest export coast in Africa as well. They have a busy shipping hub where they do a lot of transporting, like oil and goods, to other different countries and for other countries. So you can go out in Nigeria and work on an oil rig or work on the shipping line for like $100 American a day. Like, that's kind of like the thing if you don't do agriculture. They do $99 billion of export trade annually, and they're the 38th largest export economy. The capital is Abuja, and it's under development. They actually have clubs and stuff. That's like being in Florida. So like if you want the more urban setting, Abuja is where you would want to be. But it's hard to get affordable living space out there because that's where everybody flocks to. So if you want the city life to go and help them develop their infrastructure, then that might be the city you want to go to. The U.S. Embassy is there. They have a big U.S. Embassy. That's where a lot of the students end up going to work. Nigeria is a very large Muslim nation, so they don't really deal with pork and beef. But they do eat chicken, but it's not very cost effective to raise poultry in Nigeria unless you have like a big feedlot, because it's so hot and birds really don't do good in the heat. The hotter they get, the more they consume to keep weight on. So it'll be hard to feed them. They dehydrate very fast. And they also eat fish. So a catfish farm will work out there as well too. So then I compared that to Accra, Ghana, and the average rent is about the same. It's $400 a month or $400 a month for like a house, $200 for like an apartment. But it's easier to get in Accra because that's where a lot of people are going. The cities is Accra, yeah. So they have their currencies called.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. The currency is called cedis, and it's also 4-to-1. Now they're more Christianized. They're not as religious, and the main language is English there. So you won't have as big a language and culture barrier in Ghana as you would. But they eat pretty much everything. When I interviewed the brother that was a business consultant from there, he said that, if you're trying to go agribusiness and start up something, the cost of labor and the cost of production in Ghana is cheaper because it's so spread out. It's easier to get bushland in Ghana than it is to get in Nigeria because Nigeria is developing that place, and you got a lot of people, you got a lot of foreign interests in Nigeria. So when it comes to buying land, you can get, if 10 acres in Nigeria costs you 3,000 American, 5 to 10 acres in Ghana will cost you about 2,000 because it's developed, but it's not as condensed as Nigeria. So like the equivalent is you're looking at land in Little Rock as opposed to land in Pine Bluff. Same area but different population, which deals with how many people are actually wanting it. The production labor cost, the accessibility to raw materials is easier to get. It's easier to work in the bush because a lot of it's not corporate. A lot of it's just really just them. It hasn't been like commercialized like Nigeria has. A huge seaport, good for exports, and like I said, the main language is English. So, ballpark, if you was to try to move to Ghana, and which everyone is saying that Ghana, because Ghana ranks when it comes to getting minority credit according to World Bank report, they rank number 37 or 40 when it comes to getting credit in Ghana, and they're like 74 when it comes to protecting minority assets. So like they're in the top 100 of 189 when it comes to doing that. Now Nigeria is not doing as well as far as like the credit goes, although it's still better than a lot of other nations, but it's not as good as Ghana. So like you're looking at roughly, if you just want to move there and see, you're looking at roughly, save up 3,000 American, and that'll get you. You'll be good for a year, an entire year in Ghana. If you wanted to go there, buy land and develop it, it would be best to go with like 5,500 or 6,000, and that'll be good. That'll buy you your land. That'll pay for your laborers for a year, pay your payroll, and then it'll help you with your exports. You just have to go over there and find someone who has a ship and to send it over. Now that's probably where the bulk of your money is gonna come from. But buying the physical land itself, because we are diasporatic Africans and they are offering dual citizenship to those the descendants of slaves. That part will be easy. It's just getting it out of Africa. And based on and if you're sending it here, you have to go through the USDA and ATF to see what all you can even export here. So about to move there, 3,000. To move to Ghana, 3,000. To start a business, 5,000. And that'll cover you for a year. Payroll, overhead, land ownership, citizenship, a visa, all of that stuff. So that you're looking at round trip $3,000 just to go. But to start a business off the land, depending on what season you go. If you go in the dry season, of course, it's gonna be easier to get land in the dry season, but not gonna be able to plant anything till it rains. So it's best to go in the dry season to actually buy it and then go back and plant it during the wet. So it depends on the crop you're growing, but that's basically how it runs down.
Cool. So is it as difficult as you thought it would be? I mean, or as expensive as you imagined it was before you did the research?
No, it's about right. It's just now the first thing you got to do, I will say this, for anybody who's thinking about going to Africa or if anybody who's on that Pan-African trip, the first thing you need to do is figure out why you're going. Because I'm pretty sure the first week you go, it's going to be an emotional thing. You're going to be crying and people are going to get tired of you asking questions and crying and stuff, but they're going to like your money. But you have to think that you actually moving somewhere. And how willing are you to change your entire lifestyle? For what reason? What's your purpose of going over there? Because if you don't go over there with a purpose, you're just going to end up, being a villager pretty much. But if you know what you're going over there for, the sky's the limit, like for real, for agriculture at least, and infrastructure. So that's what I would tell that to anybody. If you want to go to Africa, first and foremost, figure out why you want to go. It's open season, but if you don't have any plans, then you just going to be over there. Hot is I don't know what. So you just got to have a reason for going.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you did some serious research. Thank you. Thank you for that.
I'm glad y'all called me to task on that because it's not as hard. It's really not hard. It's not hard at all. If you go over there with money and you black, it's not hard at all.
And another thing, just to add to that, one thing that Chief said is, before you do that, go over there and see wherever you're trying to move, see what's needed in the area.
Exactly.
Because like he said in a show once before, sometimes, because it's not like real estate here where you just go into an agency and buy some land. They live by a lot of cultural, traditions, and a lot of the land is passed down, is the transactions are done differently there. And so, like you said once before, sometimes land is just gifted to you. If you're, if you're active in that community or, wherever you're trying to go, they see you actually trying to help what's going on, because you do hear stories of Americans going there and setting up shop, trying to take over, and getting run off the land. You know what I mean? So it's like the relationships between people are different there. So you don't want to go in like a colonizer. You know what I'm saying? You want to go in and teach the area, get to know the people. It's just a different type of vibe, and Chief has spoken about that before. So, and you can also go to Our New Life Global, sign up, and ask about the Africa initiative that we have, where we've already got some things set up. And if you want, like Dietrich said, you can go over there a few times and visit peep the area out, get to know the people, figure out if this is where you want to be before you just kind of go over and just start, setting up. You might want to travel there, a few times before you go. So what are your plans, Dietrich? What do you think? Why did you pick Cameroon, by the way?
I picked Cameroon. Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Well, I think when it comes to, and a lot of people don't know this, but when it comes to lowest crime rates globally, Cameroon is like top 5. So they're not in conflict. Mm-hmm. They're not very hostile in Cameroon, and they're giving. Like I said, they're giving dual citizenship to any descendant of a slave that wants to come back and live there. So I picked them because of that, and it's a very ruralized area. It's not like I said, the Douala is the big city, but it's so much territory that you can set up ecotourism, resorts, agriculture, and just ship the stuff back here, and it'll just have a different ashe. And they also have, I personally. My investment is I want to invest in acacia wood because I was at this French wholesale furniture store, and I was looking for a little coffee table. So I went to the store and I asked him, like, "Say, brother, how much is this coffee table?" He was like, "Oh, that's $400." I said, "What?" It was just a little 4x2 foot coffee table, just a regular wood coffee table. I said, "So, brother, why is this coffee table so expensive?" He said, "It's made out of acacia wood and it came from India and Brazil." And I thought to myself, wait a minute, acacia ain't indigenous to India. Acacia comes from Africa. So if a coffee table wholesales for $400 of pure acacia wood, then it's retailing at $8. So you could go over there and get you like 8 acres of acacia wood and make furniture and just ship it back. So definitely the natural resources. I'm more of an agriculture person, so that, and I still have a little bit more research to do about the laws regarding tobacco and transferring tobacco into the nation. I don't know how easy it is to get through ATF with that. ATF would you have to go through them on that, and I'm still doing research on it. You can have so many plants for personal use, but it didn't have much information on international tobacco importing it internationally from Africa. So I know you can't get it from Cuba. So because certain plants, they won't even let you bring it to the country. So I'm still doing homework on as far as like getting the tobacco shipped over. But it pretty much in Africa you can grow whatever you want. You really can grow whatever you want because they don't have strict agricultural laws over there.
Yeah, that's interesting you said that because with this cigar, this 21-day cigar challenge that I started, I was getting some information on that, and I was reading some articles about a couple of big importers of Cameroon tobacco, some of the experiences they had just with the government there and, starting the business up and everything. And I know like a lot of some of the wrappers for cigars come from Cameroon, not necessarily the filler, but the wrappers. So that's interesting. That's interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. See, that's tobacco is big business in Mississippi, Mississippi, Alabama, and South Carolina. Like that's kind of the thing. So like if you ever driving on the interstate anywhere down south and you see like a barn and you see them brown leaves hanging down, they drying tobacco.
Right.
And you can actually, if you're really smart, you really want to try to get in good with some Native Americans because you can grow that on a Native American reservation. The USDA don't regulate what they do because they technically aren't part of the United States government. So like that's why they were able to make them and sell them at those casinos because those tribal laws are different. So it's all about what you plan on producing when you get there, and know that there is polarity to everything you do. Well, not polarity, duality to everything you do, because if you have a good enough idea, they're going to try to profit off of your idea as well. So you have to go there and get in real good with the government officials and let them know that, look, I'm going to cut you in. Just don't cut me all the way out. because you are making money off of their land, because they will do that.
Yeah.
So just go over there with a purpose.
It's different.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, the relationships are different between people there. A lot different than it is here in the States. Different culture, different people, different way of doing things.
Yeah. And don't go over there thinking you're going to be a savior to them, too, because they do not like that. Because
thinking what now?
Thinking you're going to be a savior to them, because they don't like that.
Oh, okay.
Like some people, I'm going to come over here and help you out. We don't really need your help. You're not that important. So don't go over there thinking you're going to. I was speaking with, I don't want to call him. It was a brother. He just came from over there. His name, he's a warehouse manager in Atlanta distribution, and the name of his business is called Unify, Driven by Nature. And he deals with a lot of international business accounting. He's a business account consultant.
Okay.
And he deals with in the import and export and the logistical transportation of goods. So he was like, yeah, this is what goes on there. A lot of the time, a big part of doing business in nations, in different foreign nations, is their religious beliefs. So certain things you can't do in Muslim countries as far as like livestock. It's a certain way you got to dispatch them. It has to be a certain time. It has to be within a certain time that you have to even, eat the animal after you dispatch it. So in certain animals they don't eat, certain animals they don't touch. Just like, for example, Muslims really don't let dogs in their house. So the pet industry in a Muslim nation is not going to be very good because they don't do dogs and cats in their house, and they barely touch them. But whereas Ghana, you can do it a little bit better because they're a little bit more liberal when it comes to religious beliefs. It's not as rigid as the Muslim country. So you have to know what culture is prominent there, what the cultural practices of that culture is, and how those people feel about certain, animals and whatnot.
So, in your conversation with them, what's the most important thing you took away from the whole interaction?
Go over there and meet people first. Go over there with somebody that you know is not going to take advantage of you. Because you go over there with an American with money, and they're gonna see you coming. So go over there and know what season you're going, know why you're going, and know how you plan to make money when you get there. But definitely know someone over there. They couldn't stress that enough. They like, just make sure you know somebody over there. Don't go over there thinking that you finna just. It ain't like moving to Texas. You got to go over there. You got to know them folks. So that's
right.
The big takeaway. They're like, go see it first. He said just go to both of them because you never know where you might be accepted at. You might plan on doing business in Ghana, but they accept you more in Nigeria. So it'd be more prevalent. Whatever it is you're gonna do, they'll help you more in Nigeria than with Ghana or vice versa. So just go knowing somebody when you go over there, having your money saved up, and know where you're going. Because they will people will take advantage of you, but definitely know somebody before you go, or take somebody with you that's from there.
Cool.
So that was the biggest takeaway.
All right. Good. I'm glad you had that conversation and was able to bring back some of that information for us. So you ready to move?
Yes, ma'am. Am I? I'm getting to the point where I need to go first because I want to make sure. I want to make sure that and that's another thing about African nations. You have to make sure that they don't have an embargo on certain exports, because a lot of them still are under colonial, rule.
Right.
Although they're independent, but they still paying sanctions to these different European nations.
Right.
So you have to make sure that whatever crop that you have, that you can actually export it out of the country without, without violating any like NATO laws or anything like that, or any Geneva Convention laws. You just got to make sure whatever you plan on investing in, that you can get it out of that country, or even trade across borders.
Cool.
So you got to do your. That's if you're serious about it. That's if you really plan on going over there and getting some stuff done. If you don't want to go over there and and be emotional and pour libations and get dashikis and, you know, just say you about $1,500 and go. Stay there for about 2 weeks. Have your fun, come back. And tell everybody how African you are.
Or if you just want to retire. Some people just go there and retire, you know? Yeah.
That's a big thing. That's what a lot of people are doing on the coast.
Right.
I would compare the brother. He said the best way to compare Ghana to the United States is pretty much living in Florida, in the coastal region. So it's not as bad as you think. But that coastal
property is
hard to get. No.
The fact that I heard no bills, I'm like, yeah, I'm there. Like, you know, property taxes, you know, all these different bills and stuff. Like, a lot of that is eliminated there.
Yeah,
so,
you can live off the grid.
That alone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can live off the grid. You got A1 credit over there because it's easy to get credit if you have money. Like, they'll give you credit if you're being productive. So, like, if you got bad credit over here and you plan on just go over there and start over again.
Yeah.
Just be aware of the currency difference.
I think just as, you know, I think we just need to start thinking more globally. You know, sometimes we get in places and we don't move. You know, it's like we settled and we are just settled. You know, we don't want to move around. You know, I remember having that conversation with my parents and some other family members before. I was like, you know, maybe the American dream was, or whatever dream, was to have a house, you know, when y'all came up. But I'm like, I'm trying to be mobile. You know what I mean? I don't want to be stuck in one place, you know, forever and ever, or have to worry about this place if I decide to go somewhere and live somewhere else for 3 to 5 years or whatever. You know, I just kind of wanted to be almost nomadic to a point, you know. But, I think we just have to start thinking, I think we have to start thinking globally. And like Chief, you know, sent you on a search, you know, we have to realize that sometimes these ideas we have in our head about being able to do that or being able to live here for 3 years and go somewhere else for 5 years, and it's not as expensive as you might think it is. You know, we feel like you have to be super duper, you know, like mega rich to be able to do this, or oh, you're going here, oh, you're going there. You know, automatically we just think these people are just like moguls and they got, you know, just a ton of money. But just depending on where you go, like, you can travel pretty cheaply nowadays. You know, the flight will probably cost you the most.
But if you do it right, you know, if you fly back and forth to Africa, you will have thousands of frequent flyer miles. So the tickets will eventually start getting cheaper if you stay with the same airline. So I know Turkish Airlines for Ghana and Virgin Atlantic for Nigeria. So if check and see which one of those airlines will give you the most frequent flyer miles, and you'll be probably flying back and forth there for half the price if you you know, plan on frequenting that much. Because I was talking to a sister, and she was like, well, she wanted to spend the American winters in Africa and spend the Nigerian drought in the American summer. Right. So you're not really going through bad weather. So,
yep.
You know,
I've heard that before.
So it's just, you know, you got to bring yourself to do it.
Thank you for that report. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I think the hardest part of going to Africa or moving to Africa is bringing yourself to do it, because I don't care how conscious you are. If you still have negative images of Africa embedded in your subconscious, you're not really gonna want to go. Because I'm like, well, what I'm gonna be just sitting outside looking at monkeys all day, but they actually have a city life, you know. But how willing are you to give up your American lifestyle, your perceived version of American comfort lifestyle? That's the hard part.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring. I think this is Brother Byron. Peace, Brother Byron. How are you?
Peace, Sister Kim. Peace, Brother Dietrich.
Peace.
How are you doing? Everyone okay?
I'm well.
We're great. How are you?
I'm very well, and I'm just ringing up to congratulate Brother Dietrich because I think he's done some really thorough research, and he's given me some information that I was unaware of. And my wife was listening as he was speaking, and she said quite naturally, she said, "Listen to how the brother sounds this week to compare to how he was last week. He sounds so much different. You see what a little bit of information can do?" Yeah. So she's gone upstairs with the children right now, but that's what she sincerely said. And so I just really wanted to call in and say, well done, brother, man.
Well, thank you so much. Like y'all said, man, you gotta have a plan for it.
Mm-hmm.
Once you have an idea of what you're gonna do, then it takes the edge off. Cause okay, this is what I'm up against, and this is how I can prepare for it.
Yeah.
You got a bad echo, Victor.
That's not me.
Oh, okay.
I could hear a little feedback here. Okay. Could I just ask, Brother Dietrich, did you find, were you surprised by anything that you found out? Was there anything that surprised you?
I didn't know the currency exchange was that dramatic. Like you really can go to Africa and be straight with $3,500. Like you can get there, get somewhere to stay, live in the city off of that little bit of money. And that's without working. That's just having money just in that African bank, or even just American cash. But just how dramatic the currency exchange was. I didn't know it was that different. That 4-to-1 ratio is very high. Yeah. That is very true. I mean, I've been to West Africa a few times, and my understanding was that, so regular people, well, I'm not saying people that are wealthy, regular people who are getting their little pension from working for, I don't know, the city for 20, 30 years, can go out there and live exceedingly well just off their little pension. Yeah,
seriously,
and not even
seriously.
work. Yeah.
And not even work. And when I say live well, I mean you have a driver, you have a gate man, you have a house cleaner. You know, that's what I'm saying, living well. I'm not saying living well, you're not stressing over bills. I'm saying you're catering for yourself to live to a good standard.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Wow.
So, yeah, man, I just wanted to commend you anyway, my man. I just wanted to commend you anyway because I got a lot from your delivery, and I'm sure other listeners did. So I just wanted to big you up, my man.
Well, thank you. So any information that you can tell us on what to look out for when we start going, feel free to let us know, because that's something that we're gonna have to start doing at some point anyway. Because I don't know if you heard about what Colin Kaepernick did the other day at that preseason game. Like people get mad about that.
I heard about that.
Him, him. What you saying, brother?
No, I was saying I heard about what he did, and it's getting a lot of uproar, apparently from those crackers over there.
Can you fill us in, because I have no idea what you all are speaking about.
Okay. Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is a starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, and he's of mixed race. He's half black, half white, half Puerto Rican or something. But they played the national anthem, and he sat down. So at the post-game interview, they asked him, in the locker room, so Mr. Kaepernick, why was you sitting down when they played the national anthem? He was like, it's hard for me to have pride in a nation that gives murderers paid leave. He said, I'm not proud of a nation who oppresses minorities. And people burning they still burning mattresses in Tennessee because of that. Because him, Deshaun, one of the starting linebackers for the Philadelphia Eagles did the same thing. Deshaun McCoy said the same thing. He gonna sit out. Arian Foster said the same thing. He was like, y'all saying that he should shut up and play ball, but ain't that the very same thing y'all told black folks during the Jim Crow era, when Jim Brown was playing for the Cleveland Browns, and when the brother from the Olympics did the black fist. You know, every time a black athlete, everything's fine and dandy as long as we running fast, jumping high, and doing soft shoe for you. But the second you're like, okay, look, I don't agree with what you're saying. I'll hang that SOB, NIG, you know, all of that stuff. So, and it's a lot of black athletes, like the little what's the girl name? The gymnastics girl, Gabrielle.
Oh, Gabby Douglas. Mm-hmm.
Gabby, yeah, she did the same thing. They gave her a hard time about not covering her heart at the Olympics. So a lot of people, and then Carmelo Anthony said the same thing. The St. Louis Rams had Black Lives Matter jerseys on after Mike Brown got killed in St. Louis, and then the whole team from the I want to say the Minnesota Bobcats or Wildcats in the WNBA, that whole team got fined because they had a it's either I Can't Breathe shirt or a Black Lives Matter shirt. So these athletes are starting to put their foot down and be like, look, y'all need to start treating us better. And it's really, really, really pissing people off. Even Usain Bolt said that if y'all want to shoot a commercial for me, y'all have to come to Jamaica and do it because my people need jobs. And it was a big thing about that. So people, you know, you got a lot of high-profile athletes that's like, look, y'all are doing too much, and we simply don't like it, and they're getting a lot of backlash for it. Like, I think they're trying to actually cut him now. $19 million quarterback going to cut him for that. Gonna buy his contract out and cut him. So I don't think they're gonna do it or not, but that's what the GM talking about. And I think the fans are putting pressure on Roger Goodell to change the law, make it a requirement to stand and put it in the contract. Because I know not too long ago, the Missouri football team, you know, they SEC now. So the entire Missouri football team decided not to play one game because of what happened with Mike Brown and the racist, you know, threats they was receiving at the University of Missouri. And the president, who did not resign, went to the NCAA, and they made it a law that any scholarship athlete that refuses to play for a social reason will get their scholarship took. So they say if you perform any protest, then you just now forfeited your athletic, academic, or, you know, scholarship, whatever scholarship you got, you gave it up.
Do you see something wrong with that?
Do I? Yeah, because
what do you find is wrong with it?
About putting it in your contract that you can't protest.
Yeah. Or any of the, you know, just the whole thing about athletes protesting and things. How do you feel about that?
Because that the quickest way to pacify a nation is to pacify its gladiators. Like, the athletes are the modern day gladiators, and when you can go to them and be like, look, do what I say or you won't be able to play no more, period. You're putting people in a position to where they have to pick, you know, their principles and what they believe in over their financial freedom. And I think that's a hard decision for athletes to make, and for a institution who claims to come from a free nation to put that ultimatum in front of them. To me, that's very imperialistic and un-American, because you're pretty much controlling what a person does, which technically is very un-American, because we all have the right to peaceful protest. So now you're violating the Constitution. I want to say your Third Amendment right of peaceful protest. So you're violating. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I thought that being American was acknowledging, whether consciously or subconsciously, but I thought being American was living in a white supremacist state where
exactly,
if you stepped in line, if you stayed in line, you're okay. But if you step out of line, we're going to hurt. We're going to take your life. We're going to take your wealth. We're going to take your name. We're going to take your status, whatever. But I thought America was all about people towing the line. That was my observation. I know the rhetoric about freedom and liberty and so
right.
forth. It's just an imaginary value. It's an imaginary value, but the reality of living in America is people having control and people don't have our control. That's what I see from my side of the pond. But
right. And I was going to agree with you. I was going to agree with you, Brother Byron. I think when you get involved in things like this, you have to realize, first of all, football, that's an all the way American sport. It is ingrained in American culture. So you are representing the values and the norms of American culture, like Brother Byron was saying. So anytime something comes up and you're being paid as a representative to be on the world stage representing this culture. So anytime they're paying you to do that, to uphold this American sport that's all about American culture, and you're doing something against that, of course they got to get rid of you. That's intelligent. But because we come from a culture where we don't have that type of mindset that look, this is what we do. Anytime you step outside of that, you got to go. That's all they're doing. So can you really hate them for that, or are they just protecting their culture?
Well, when it comes to sports, it depends on a purpose of you doing it. Like sports is a very polarizing venue. Either you love it or you hate it, but either way, you're going to be aware of it. So when it comes to something like this, what Roger Goodell and the NFL shareholders are going to do, they're going to keep him around just for people to come to the game and say how much they hate him. That's how silly Americans are, as opposed to boycotting that boy, and as opposed to just being like, okay, we're not coming to another game until you cut him. These people are going to Hibbett, Sports Authority, going to these memorabilia places, buying these $70, $80, $100 Kaepernick jerseys and burning them. So who's making money off of that? The NFL licensing committee. So what they're going to do is they're going to make money in the process of throwing him under the bus. Because when Michael Vick had got caught up with that dog fighting stuff, which I think was they lynched him because he was not there when that happened. He was in training camp. He just bought that house for his brother. His brothers was doing it. He was physically in training camp, like the first week of training camp. There were more Vic jersey sales then than when he was a rookie because people was buying them to burn them. So at some point, I do feel that black athletes going to have to come to a place to be like, look, either we're going to play ball and just, get the money and just be easy, or we're going to start developing our own leagues because all they're doing is exploiting them. Because you'll be shocked at how many NFL players who've been in the league, like the linebackers and stuff, especially the linebackers, who get out of the NFL and have trouble remembering their children's names from their concussions. So for me, as a professional football player who plays professional football, you have to strike a balance. Like, okay, yeah, I'm playing an American sport, but I'm putting my body on the line for you to feel good about something that you're not even doing. Well, I'm a Pittsburgh Steeler. Well, did you actually go to training camp, and have you took on a 275-pound fullback coming straight at you? You're not a Steeler. You're a fan. So stay in your place. I'm the one out here that's having to do tour-a-days, getting up at 6 in the morning, running, tearing muscles, sitting in ice tubs and stuff. So yeah, if it wasn't for me, y'all wouldn't have any money. If it wasn't for Emmitt Smith, if it wasn't for Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Ryan Cunningham, even people can't stand him, but Terrell Owens put more butts in the seats than anybody because half the people liked him, half the people hated him. So people would pay to see him lose. So when you have a person bringing in that much revenue, then I have a voice now because if I quit, not only are people not going to come to the game, they're not even going to watch it because they don't even know these other people. So I think the NFL has an accountability to these players who putting their bodies on the line to get them rich because the NFL is grossing $9 billion a year, and out of all the professional sports, football is third to last on the pay scale. So when you look at what they're bringing in compared to what they're getting, I about would feel the same way. I'm like, man, if it weren't for me, y'all. First of all, y'all wouldn't even went to the division playoffs. So I'm bringing in revenue for the extra games because of the playoffs. So you damn right I got a voice. See, if you want me to continue to bring you tickets, let's renegotiate how we doing stuff in this country. But like Brother Byron said, this country ain't built on values like that. It's built on, boy, shut up, run fast, and jump high. So that's why I feel we should just start developing our own stuff, because it's a lose-lose battle, but a win-win for them.
Or start doing something else. Just having this conversation kind of ties into why Chief sent you on the mission to do the research, because this whole situation is parallel to what you were saying at first about trying to secure land here. Like you said, you're trying to secure land in a country that you don't own. This is not yours. So it's almost, it's pointless. You're trying to secure resources somewhere where it's impossible to do that.
They don't want you.
So you have to go somewhere else, or you have to do something else. So same thing here. I mean, I can't even, a regular person, we're not even talking about someone making that much money. A regular person just working at a school or a bank or something like that, they can't go into those places protesting and keeping up a whole bunch of noise about what they believe in or what they don't believe in. You can't do that on any pay scale. And that's because, like we were saying, this is America. And this is American culture. So if you consider like she said, if you don't choose a culture, one will be chosen for you. So by default, because you have not planted your flag and you have not said this is what I am and you're not living that, you're an American. So, like you said, shut up, jump high, run fast.
I mean, well, I guess it kind of goes back to what we was talking about compassion. Like, at what point are you willing to stand for what you believe in? Because like we can speculate all we want, but we don't know what his true purpose is. His purpose might have just been that, because Jim Brown did the same thing, and he was actually he used his platform to speak out against the Jim Crow era, what was going on in America, and he ended up becoming a movie producer about it. But to tell a person that's 6'7", 240 that you need to go sit in a cubicle, who cubicle he finna sit in? Who restaurant Shaq finna work in? Like, his purpose is to be an athlete. So with that,
not necessarily. He may have had other. He may have had other gifts. It doesn't mean Chief is a big guy. It doesn't mean he has to play football. There are other things that we.
Yeah, I believe you completely. But if what's the likelihood, especially in America again, because that happened to me. Because I was playing football for Tennessee State, and I used to work at a vet clinic and PetSmart. And you would think that I was Frankenstein when those European women would hand their dogs to me, their little poodles, Shih Tzus, and Malteses to me when I worked in the grooming salon. They looked at me in absolute terror. So it got to the point where I would have to sit in the back because of what Michael Vick did. And basically how I look. So it was easier for me to get clientele as a trainer and training working dogs as opposed to working with pet dogs because how they perceive me and their preconceived notions about black people. So if I'm 7 foot, if I'm 7 foot and can jump out the gym, and I know I can become an instant millionaire playing basketball, buy my time out, get my paper, say what I want, and go from there, as opposed to saying, I can just do something else. Maybe I'll just go be an engineer and have to fight through the red tape of being an engineer when I can just skip that, get the money, get a couple meals stacked up, and then start doing what I want to do. So you made a good point about doing something else, but at what point do you feel as if that you letting people bully you? Like, I'm gonna say what I want regardless. You're not gonna tell me what to do. I bring too much to the table. I'm a man. You ain't gonna just tell me what to do.
Dietrich, did you say that Colin Kaepernick was half African American and half European.
Yeah,
Is that his ancestry?
Yes. Well, actually, he's adopted, but his birth mother he was adopted by 2 white people, but his birth mother was white, and I think his daddy was black and Puerto Rican. And his own mother, who his own birth mother was had condemned what he said. She hadn't been in his life for his whole life, but she was in the news talking about that she can't believe her birth son did that.
Okay. Well, for me, when I looked at, because I'm always interested to look at the individual when they make their particular protests. So for me, the condition that he was protesting about isn't news. It might be in the news, but it isn't new. It's been going on for decades, centuries. Okay. So he decided at this particular point, despite knowing it from the day he was born, or from when he became a young man at least, of police brutality and murders of African Americans, etc. He decided at this point to make a silent protest of not standing to the national anthem. When the first thing that came to me when I read that article, it was that his African DNA within him got activated, and that caused him to do something, because he's been part African all his life, and maybe he was more in tune with his European side potentially at some stage in his life, but at some stage now he's now demonstrating allegiance to the African American part of him. Now, I don't know why he did it, but I can make comparisons into other people that I'm aware of. So I can talk personally, because I do know what Usain Bolt is a Caribbean. He's a Jamaican man. Now, Usain Bolt is making millions of dollars. But I know that Usain Bolt personally, he's laid a road from Sherwood Content to Falmouth, which is about 10, 15 miles. He's laid a road. Before it used to be a dirt road, he's put tarmac down. He's put water to every single house in the village. The village of Sherwood Content homes 500 people. He's put water into that. He's built a medical centre. He's built a play area for children. He's made so much investments into the community that he doesn't shout about, I know this because my family live in that village. Some of my family live in that village, and they're telling me what you're saying is doing this, you're saying he's doing that. But he's not making any noise about it. He's making practical improvements to lives of African people. Mr. Kaepernick is on similar status in terms of finances. I'm not sure what he's doing, if he's putting any money back into the community, but maybe by putting money from his pocket back into the community, there would be more immediate benefit to the African American community, because I can't see what benefit his protest is going to do, apart from increased polarization. He's not highlighting the issue, because the issue has been highlighted for the last 2 years, since Michael Brown and Ferguson, probably 2 years ago, or Trayvon Martin possibly before that. That's when it was highlighted. So I don't know what mileage he's making out of this, apart from getting his name in the headlines.
Well, that's why I think we need to have a show that just deals with American African frame of thought and the indigenous African and Caribbean African frame of thought, because the problem that a lot of brothers from the states have when it comes to that is you don't know what community to invest in. You just know you're tired of all of it. So, like, for example, Usain Bolt has the entire country of Jamaica behind him. So he doesn't feel he has anything to prove, because he can just go back home and he's a king there. He can also go to Africa and be a king, because he still has that entire culture of Jamaica behind him. Now, whereas someone like Kaepernick, that's torture on him, because he's not accepted by by white people, because you're a halfling, or they call them half and half, halfling. You're not really accepted by black people because you light-skinned it, but you don't like your friends being mistreated when you go out with them, that they let you do certain stuff because you light-skinned it. But my dark-skinned friend, you want to give him the third degree, you just get tired of that. So if I invest in the black community, they're gonna take advantage of me and use me like an ATM. There's no point in investing in the white community because they don't respect what I do. So and I think it goes back to what me and you was talking about last Thursday about, you know, what is American African masculinity, because you're tired of this. You're not really sure where you're from, you know, but you know that this ain't right. You don't really have nowhere to go, but you know you're tired of getting mistreated and disrespected and marginalized by the dominant society, and as well as your own women. Because no one marginalizes black men more than black women nowadays. So it's something. But it's a healing process. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, but Mr. Kaepernick could have driven to the ghettos in San Francisco. LA is just around the corner. Oakland is there. He could have gone to those areas and put some of his money on the table and supported African Americans who need it.
Well, see, he does that in Nevada, Las Vegas. He does that. Yeah, he does a lot of stuff back home in Las Vegas, Nevada. But he has to understand, this kid's adopted. He's adopted.
Yeah.
So a lot of times when you go and do stuff like that, and a prime example, and I cannot stand it to this day, a prime example of why black athletes end up not doing that in black communities or black schools because of how the HBCUs handle people's money. I went to Mississippi Valley State. Jerry Rice, Deacon Jones, Ashley Ambrose, NFL Hall of Famers came out of Mississippi Valley State. And Jerry Rice gave Mississippi Valley State $50,000 to buy new buses because we had a trip to play Southern down in Baton Rouge, and the bus broke down. We on the interstate with our football stuff on, broke down in Louisiana. So Jerry Rice gave $50,000 to Mississippi Valley State University to purchase new buses. Instead of purchasing new buses, they build a new administration building. That's just one example. Oprah Winfrey went to Tennessee State. I also went to Tennessee State. Oprah Winfrey paid $2 million for the Performing Arts Building at Tennessee, on the campus, Avon Williams campus at Tennessee State University, the home campus. The president of Tennessee State University told that woman, for another $1 million, we'll put your name on it. So after that, we never heard from Oprah again. And you had all kinds of greats coming out of, Tennessee State. Wilma Rudolph, the Tiger Bell, Arthur Ashe, Thea Gibson, all these people coming out of Ed Too Tall Jones, Anthony Mason, all these people coming out of Tennessee State that try to give the money back to them, and they don't do what they tell them to do with it. So when you're adopted, you have that stigma, okay, who do I give to? Do I give to my white family that took me in? Do I give to the mixed children? Because they get it worse than either one of them because they're in purgatory pretty much because you ain't black and you definitely ain't white. Or do I give it to the black people, but I'm really not black, so how would they receive me? I'm going to just sit for myself because I don't like how nobody being treated. So that's just like I think that's a millennial problem, you could say, that a lot of our frustration is unguided because we don't know where to send it because we don't know which nation to fight for. And like she said, he's chosen Dietrich to highlight an issue that's affecting African Americans. Exactly.
So he could have done, but so therefore, if that's what he's chosen to do, he could also have chosen to give some practical support to African Americans.
What would you?
I don't know, but what's your 19 million US a year or something?
Okay. Let me tell you about that.
Wait. Just a minute, Dietrich. Dietrich, just a second. I'm gonna bring someone else in, but before I do that, I just wanted to say, me personally, I think this is like a difference between a young man, a young male, and a man, because I've heard Chief address this before when it comes to the conscious community and just like debating and arguing versus just shut up and do something. So it's like at what point stop arguing about it, stop complaining about it and fussing about it, and just do what you're going to do. If I donate some money to an organization, I'm just donating it. If a person asks me for, to borrow some money, and I give it to them, I don't know what they're going to do with it. They may have told me they needed it for one thing, they're going to use it for something else, but the spirit of me giving it to them has not changed. I'm going to give it to him and release and take my hands off of it. It's not necessarily about, okay, you make sure you do what you say you're going to do with it. You know what I mean? You just count it as charity or a donation or whatever it is. But I think what Brother Byron is saying is that you don't have to be so vocal all the time. Put more action into what you say you're about than just running your mouth all the time and just bringing all this attention to yourself. Because we have people that create organizations and think you could start something in your neighborhood. You know, as a matter of fact, we have Torrey Hunter is from where I am, baseball player, and he's done a lot for, you know, he donates and does a lot for, you know, the city here, whatever he chooses to do. But he doesn't advertise it. He doesn't go out speaking about it. He doesn't, you know, run his mouth or get upset and try to just call attention to him. He just does it. So I think it's just a point of maturity that you come to where you're just like, where can I have the biggest effect? Me just screaming and hollering, you know, and fussing and complaining and saying what if, but, or if I just do it. Let me just do it.
Well,
I'm gonna hold on just a second. I'm gonna bring in 347. 347. You're on Community Radio.
Peace, Sister Kim. Michelle.
Peace, Michelle. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Peace, brothers.
Peace.
I wanted to say thank you so much for the conversation. I'm doing very well. I just wanted to say thank you to you guys for the conversation.
No problem.
And
pleasure.
I didn't want to change the subject, but I wanted to add to the brother's train of thought that Chief covered this before and about talking about race, about how, you know, we can't identify by skin color anymore, and we have to identify each other by mission statement. What flag are we unifying under? You know, do we have a common goal? So that's the only thing that I wanted to add, because, you know, when it comes to footballs and flags and countries and ideologies, it can get a little demonic, you know.
Right.
So we really need to separate ourselves from the cults and the occult brainwashing that they got going on. But I wanted to say thank you because on Sunday I was on the panel for Chief Speak, but I was really shy. I didn't feel like it was my time to speak. But what I got from the Unity Month this month was what impacted me the most was the Life is a Ritual show or lecture. I'm still listening to it over and over, and in that train of thought, I feel like this show is a big sign of your life being a ritual. Like, why are we listening to the brothers discuss about moving to Africa so cheaply? Why are we discussing about what, you know, mission statement flags? Why are we listening to the show? Why are we all here united together? And, you know, I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about everyone. You know, and I think that's the powerful thing about the message that Chief gave. Once you unify internally and you unify with your environment and you unify with your life being a ritual, you start to see that your life has a purpose not only, but that life is guiding you. So all of these signs come up, and I think that was very powerful. Because we don't have to be lost.
Right. You just have to be awake. Pay attention. Well, thank you, Michelle, for coming in. I know you tried to get in on Thursday, and Dietrich had it heated. So yeah, that was a good conversation last Thursday. But yeah, thank you, and maybe you'll be able to tune in. You'll be able to join us next month, last Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, Dietrich. Michelle gave some talked about some interesting points when she went back to speaking on just culture and flags and knowing who, like she said, if you don't have a culture, one will be chosen for you. So I'll bring it back to you so that you can make your point. We've got about 4 minutes left.
Wow, that went by fast.
Mhm.
I mean, it just, the funny thing about this whole situation is he actually never came out and said anything. He sat down during the anthem and they asked him why, and his response was played out. He never actually said anything. He just said, "It's just hard for me to do that." While, I know that my friends are being mistreated in San Francisco while I'm up here getting paid, but some of my friends, they're getting harassed by the police. They're calling me, telling me about it, and I feel bad, and I just didn't feel comfortable showing pride for a nation that does that to people who look like me. So a lot of this is the media.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Now I see what you're saying. I thought that he just jumped up and made a statement or something, but you were saying all he did was just sit down or didn't stand. Are you still there? Everybody still there? Or did my call?
I'm here. I can hear you, Sister Kim. Can you hear me?
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay, good.
I can't hear Brother
Okay. Yes, but so he just he just sat down, and I guess he was asked why he didn't stand. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what he did. That's what he did.
Oh, okay.
He didn't promote it to say, right, I'm not going to stand. He would just, people had noticed he hadn't stood, and then he was asked about it, and he gave his rationale behind it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see. Well, we're coming up on the close. We can continue this conversation on Thursday. I think Dietrich brought up a pretty good topic where he was speaking about the differences between African American men versus African men. And so maybe we'll get some men to call in for that show, and we can kind of go into that topic a little bit deeper on Thursday. I think that's a big topic, and one that's been talked about before. And I don't think it's really been explored as well as it could be. So I think that's a really good conversation that we should have. So join us Thursday. We'll go with that. We'll go with Dietrich's idea, and we'll talk about African Americans and Africans. And
could I just say something, Sister Kim?
Yes.
I just think it would be helpful if there are any African men listening to come in and give their perspectives, because if African men who were born on the continent of Africa are living in America, then they can talk about their experiences and observations, hopefully, willfully. Rather than a bunch of... Yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Go
So
ahead.
we're going to make sure we have equal number on both sides, or a good representation of both groups. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
A fair representation.
Because I can tell you, tell you of my experience of African men, but my experience of an African man isn't as valid as his experience of his reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll try to put a call out and see if I can invite African men who were born on the continent, and then I'm pretty sure we have plenty of African American men who listen to the show, so we can have this conversation. That'll be a good one. So thank you everyone for calling in and sharing. We had another great conversation today. Thank you. Remember to go to SaduluHouse.com to check out classes, and we'll be back on Thursday from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern. And we'll start this conversation and see if we can, hash this out a little bit. I know this is a big topic. So thank you, and until Thursday, enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.
Okay, peace. Peace now.